Hey class, this is Dr. Willis. I wanted to take this time to welcome you to the weekend. It's Friday. Hopefully you've had a great week. We are in Module 4 and it's the current research process. So hopefully everybody got their initial post in the discussion board posted last night. I think there may have been two that I need to reach out to that didn't post last night, but I will do that very soon. But I think everybody else got it in, which is great. And I am in the process of responding to those. And I'm also in the process of grading your Module 3 material. So please just stay tuned for your grades. Now with Module 4, we're in the research process. So basically, let's talk about that paper. It's asking you to think about a topic. Hopefully you brainstormed a little bit. The paper has to be within your major, in your program area. So if you're history, something to do within the confines of history. If you're communications, within the confines of communication, and so forth and so on. So what the assignment is asking you to do is locate three sources. So basically, the discussion board talked about the academic search process versus the general search process. So within this paper, you're trying to locate three sources. Now, one of those has to be academic in nature, meaning a scholarly peer-reviewed search. You should utilize a database to find this specific scholarly source. So you can use Google Scholar to find it maybe, but my suggestion is to use the library database. I posted a video within the course that showed you how to access the Shapiro Library database, and this should really help you and guide you into selecting a peer-reviewed article. Y'all, this is so important because that article that you use, you're actually going to utilize that throughout the rest of the term to answer specific questions. So you really have to locate one scholarly source, and the other two, they don't have to be scholarly in nature. They could just be a general article. But the one that has to be scholarly, please be sure that you do that. Now, and it's important for a few reasons, because you're going to have to answer a few questions. And I'm going to talk about that. Now, you're going to answer these questions about all three of your articles. It's almost like a compare and contrast. So you're going to first talk about the writing and format of the articles. Okay. So how did the authors reflect professionalism within that area? So if your major is communication, how did he accurately reflect professionalism about the communication major, area, profession, however you want to answer that, okay? Also, did the resources employ the same method for disseminating or giving information? Compare and contrast. How did one deliver information versus the other? Did any particular style stand out to you? So based on the three, you need to discuss which style really stood out to you. So that first part is really a compare and contrast of all three of your sources. All right. The first part, writing and format, is a compare and contrast of all three of the sources. And you're going to talk about the professionalism that was reflected. You're going to talk about how they disseminated information, and you're going to talk about which one stood out to you the most and why. All right. So that first section on writing and format may be the longest. Now the second question, it says, what are the major questions the author poses? And this has to do with your scholarly article. Now the section on questions and research have to deal with your scholarly source only. Everybody follow that? Questions and research have to deal with your scholarly source only. So the question asks, what are the major questions the author posed? How do they reflect your field of study? Why is it important that these questions be investigated or further studied, and why? So the first thing, what are the questions the author poses? Now, if you are a history or an English major, depending on the topic and depending on the article you choose, the article may not be written in that traditional format where you can distinctively pick out the question. You may have to go with the overall theme of the article. What's the overall theme? Why is the author writing this article? Why is it important? Okay, so you can answer that. You can answer about the general theme, because it may not ask, it may not vividly say these are the research questions. Now, if the article says that, great for you. That's awesome. But most of the time, if you're a history or an English major, it's going to be hard to find articles that vividly say these are the distinct questions. You'll have to go with themes on that first part. The second part says, how do they reflect your field of study? How do the questions reflect, or how do the overall theme reflect your field of study? So basically, how does it match? Okay, how does my topic and the question or themes within this article, how do they reflect communication or English or history? How do they reflect those things? Lastly, why are these questions important to be investigated or studied, and why? So basically, why is this article important? Why are the questions in the article important? Or why is the general theme of this article important to your field of study? Okay, that's how you answer that. And the last one is about research. It says, what type of research is used? Quantitative or qualitative? Does the research adequately address the questions under investigation? Does the research lead you to ask more questions? So the first part is very simple. Qualitative is more of a case study. It's more of an interview. It is not any numbers, no data specific numbers there. Qualitative does not involve numbers, all conversation, all right, or all written language. Quantitative is going to be surveys, things of that nature that involve numbers. Most history and English majors, your research will be qualitative. All right. The second part, does the research adequately address the questions under investigations? That's very simple. Basically, did the style match the purpose of the article? And does this research lead you to answers or to ask more questions? So basically, if the article was thorough, great. It does not lead me to ask more questions. Everything was covered. If it was not thorough, talk about the gaps that need to be filled. Okay? All right. As a quick recap, the first part on writing and format, this is where you're going to compare and contrast all three articles. Okay? Compare and contrast based on those questions. The last two parts, questions and research, here is where you're going to talk specifically about your scholarly source that you found. Okay, so please remember, the source has to be at least 10 years old, or from at least 2006 to 2016. Don't go beyond 2006 to 2016. All right, now this is due on Sunday by 11:59. As of today, nobody has posted, so I'm wondering if that was based on confusion, if you're waiting on me to do this, or what. But hopefully people are getting those in, getting those posted, and so we don't want to be late on those. All right. If you have questions, concerns, please email me, reach out, text me. Hopefully this explained it and was pretty thorough. If not, reach out. I am more than happy to answer questions. All right. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. It's a long weekend. Be safe. Hug your family. If you're in Florida, please be safe. I know the weather's coming your way, so please take shelter. Be safe. And just take care. If you need any questions, issues, reach out. All right. Bye bye.